Who is the best rock band going right now? Now, this is obviously a question that many people have really been pondering in the world as of late. There's tons of analytics about who the hottest band in the rock scene is right now. Is it Nickelback? Is it Imagine Dragons? Um, a lot of people have been wondering this. That's why I'm making this video. Um, and I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring. Now, when it comes to the genre of rock, I really think that a lot of people will see you put a band in another category and say, oh, well, that's not really rock, that's this. And, I just am a broad strokes person a lot of the time. I don't care if it sounds like rock or if it's rock adjacent. I consider it a part of that. And same with hip hop and stuff and pop and everything. I don't care for the broad categorization, um, or the not the broad but the really succinct categorization. Um, this band that I'm going to be talking about is, in my opinion, a rock band. I mean, I'll get into the genre in a little bit, but there are a lot of people I've seen on the internet who, like to gatekeep a lot of things when it comes to the genre of punk rock, and have kind of been putting this band down as not being really punk. Oh, well, they're not hardcore, they're about as hardcore as, Harry Styles and everything. But, I mean, just don't be a wanker, okay? This band has cut their teeth in the hardcore scene early on in their career, coming from the Baltimore hardcore scene. Their first two albums, although I'd argue that their second is more adventurous than their first, were definitely more hardcore punk. But they've really evolved and reinvented themselves as far as being a rock band. And the band I'm talking about is Turnstile. I got into Turnstile when this album came out, Glow On, 2021, I think 2022, I think 2021. Yeah, 2021. Everyone was raving about this album. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. I listened to it. I liked a couple songs, Blackout and Holiday being the two standouts for me. And I just never really put much thought into the rest of their music. Not that I didn't like it. But yeah, this record I kind of just took the hits from, and it was really cool to see them get some Grammy nominations with this album. But yeah, I didn't really think much of this album after I heard it. That was until their most recent album came out. But I'll talk to about that in a little bit. More on Glow On. This album is a wonderful record. If you like something if you're not a fan of hard music, but you like, or heavy music, hard music just sounds weird. If you're not a fan of heavy music, but you like something that is heavy with, I guess, heavy and catchy at the same time, this is definitely the record for you. It's not too over the top as far as the vocal performances. The lead singer, Brendan Yates, he's not always just screaming all the time. There's some really well-sung parts of this album. The guitars aren't always heavy. People say album is metal. I disagree with that. I just consider it hardcore. I would say that, even the most metal sounding song on this album, Blackout, is one of the catchiest songs on the entire album. Even songs like Wild World and TLC, they're very groovy at parts as well. They have a really good instrumentation all over this album. And yeah, I really feel like this record, the more I've discovered this record, the more respect I've had for it over the years. I especially love the collaborations they do with Blood Orange, who's one of my favorite R&B artists. on this album and their next album, especially on the closing track, Lonely Desires, which is really just a straight up pop punk song. And then it goes into more electronic production at the end. I think Turnstile, in my opinion, has just mastered the art of mending a catchy pop punk, not even pop, a catchy punk song with electronic experimentation. I don't think anyone is doing it as well as them right now. Because it's not really that it's breaks off into, oh, this is dance punk or something. It's punk music with synthesizers and with effects. And that's so hard to really do while still sticking to your roots, which they do on a lot of those songs. I also love the packaging of their albums. It's a little slide out cardboard thing. And then it has another cover here. The back, it's a photo of the band. Almost dropped it, but this album, again, has grown on me a bunch. And I definitely think that this is a good entry point into the band's music. If you've never heard a Turnstile album, I definitely think this is the right one to start, because I'm going to talk about the next record up next, and that album is a little bit different. I wouldn't jump right into that one, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this is a perfect, smooth, 36-minute listen that you can just play and enjoy at any time. So Turnstile's Glow On is where I'll start. So I really started getting into this band when I heard they were coming out with a new album last year. And I didn't listen to it on the release day, but I listened to it the week after. As Turnstile's Never Enough, my favorite album of 2025. Now, where this album is different is this album is more expansive, in my opinion. The songs will start out really heavy on here, and then they'll just kind of drift off into some ambient electronic stuff. But it never feels boring, or it doesn't feel like it's coming out of nowhere. It feels like it's telling a story through the music, which is really what I appreciate about this record. There's a lot of really beautiful moments throughout. Songs like Sun Shower, which are very aggressive at the beginning, then have this beautiful flute at the end that just adds this ambiance that is just unspeakable in many ways. Songs like Seeing Stars and I Care kind of have a little bit more of an 80s jangly kind of pop feel, but they still have like some harder edge guitars come in on both those songs. Even moments like the opening track, Never Enough, starts out really slow, and then those crunchy riffs reminds me of the opening song on this record, Mystery, which is very similar to the opening track on Never Enough, which it kind of starts out a little bit slower, and then the guitars come in, and it ends kind of more ambient as well. But this album is a little bit longer than Glow On, but it's a little more expansive. And that's the reason why I wouldn't start with this album, even though I do think this album is superior. I feel like this album you really have to dig into it. Because when I first heard it, I kind of really liked it. But then the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And I really grew to love it. And like I said, it's an album you get more out of the more listens you give it. This one, again, is packaged also similarly. Turnstile. So this one is another one that is hard to pin down a genre. It obviously has punk. Some people think the song Birds is a metal song. I feel like half the people saying that have never heard a real metal song in their lives. They just hear heavy music and think, oh, it's metal. I really don't get where people come calling anything on this album metal. It's punk, but it's not metal. There is a difference. And I just think hardcore music isn't this broad thing that you can just throw on anything. You know, a song like, uh, you know, I'm trying to think of a heavy rock song, and I know it isn't a metal song. Like a song like Black Dog by Led Zeppelin isn't a heavy metal song. Even if it does have hard guitar riffs, even Whole Lotta Love isn't a metal song. Metal, when I think of metal, I think of distortion with abrasive riffs. But I don't want to get too into the genre because it's going to be a long video. But anyway, this album is phenomenal. It's probably my favorite of their records. And yeah, definitely check this out and check Turnstile out. And thank you for watching. I'll also link my friend Jake's channel because I did some videos on his channel, including a review of the new Harry Styles album. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.